Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of August 18th. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have a slowness and protection card and this desire and attraction card. So, yeah, something could be moving slowly that you are attracted to. And I do not feel that only has to be love, of course, Libra. This could just be anything that you're hoping for. You know, the Four of Swords is a card of like hoping and praying for a blessing. And so, but you know, sometimes I feel like the Four of Swords can just be a card that says that we are hoping and praying for something to show up in our lives, right? And you know, it could be anything. And so I think that whatever it is maybe has been slow that you've been hoping for. But again, this could be for your protection or so that, you know, really I would say based off the time that we're in, plus the fact that Saturn is in your opposite sign, Aries, you know, it is going to retrograde into Pisces soon enough, but, you know, it's basically already been there, that things can definitely happen a little bit more slowly. But it's like the way to think about, like, I think Saturn personally gets a bad rap in the astrology. And, you know, like, I think it's obviously necessary and a good thing. And the thing about Saturn is that it likes things, you know, that are going to last a while. So, you know, even if something is moving a little bit more slowly than you would like, at least it's probably something that's coming in for you that is going to last a long time. You have the the Four of Swords. You do have the Two of Swords, but you have the Four of Swords, the Five of Swords, and the Three of Wands in the area of your current general energies. Yeah, I think it's like time to start, you know, taking action towards things. The Five of Swords can be a risk, and we'll talk more about this in just a minute, but you have the King of Wands right next to it, and, you know, so if, like, there's something that you want in life, which I feel there is, I really feel like this energy is just saying it's time to, like, go for it. You know, it's time to make it happen. It's time to, you know, create that reality that you're hoping to create in your life, and that's what I would do here with the Four of Swords. You know, especially if you're working on a, you know, project, business, idea, you know, any of those things. I would really be putting in the work to make things happen here with these cards, and you know, don't be afraid to take the risk. I also feel like I get a tiny little bit of like, what are you waiting for energy here, Libra. Normally I say that on the Three of Wands, which you don't have in this reading. Oh, yes, you do. I can't believe I just said that. It was right in front of my face. You have the Three of Wands right here. So there you go. I definitely feel a little bit of what, but I feel it on this card, which is weird. You know, it's almost like you're praying for something that's already yours, you know? I wish I had a better way to explain that, but it's like sometimes I think people ask for something, and it's like the universe is like, why, like, this already belongs to you. Why, what are you asking for? What are you waiting for? You know, it's like, that's the type of energy I get off of that card. Definitely get risk energy on this Five of Swords for sure. Five of Swords can be like a separation, breakup, all that other stuff, but sometimes I feel the Five of Swords wants us to take the risk of like putting ourselves out there. And, you know, this guy here is the winner. So the Five of Swords can be a card of winning or entering into a time where you are winning. So I feel for a lot of you, it's not always perfect with the Five of Swords because, you know, it can ask us to, you know, remove ourselves from certain relationships or from certain people in our lives, but usually it leads to something better. So, you know, it can be a good thing. You have the Three of Wands. Like I said, what are you waiting for with that Four of Swords? I'm not really feeling that on the Three of Wands. But what I will say about the Three of Wands for you, Libra, is it is definitely time for you to take up more space. You know, again, you know, I think Saturn and Neptune and Aries, even though they're both retrograding into Pisces and they don't, you know, they move back into Aries in January and February of next year. But what I would say is I would start now. Like, I wouldn't wait, right? But I think that it's time for you to, like, take up more space and to be more bold and more assertive. This is true for everyone, but it's extra true for you because Aries is your opposite sign, right? And so I think it's time to be bold, like loud. Anything you're wanting to share, it's like time to put it out into the world. Anything you've ever wanted to accomplish, it's time to like put it out into the world and just see how things go. And if you do that, you will be happy that you did. So those are the types of risks I would be taking with the Three of Wands. With the Four of Swords, you have the world. Yeah, with the Three of Wands, this could represent getting out into the world. And also the Three of Wands, like any opportunities for you to go places you've never been before. I would, you know, I know that sounds simple, but, you know, it's like if you get a random opportunity to travel or, you know, to go somewhere, I would take that opportunity, even if it seems small, because you never know what kind of things could pop up. You also have the World here, which is an accomplishment, and you have the Wheel of Fortune down here. And so the World and the Wheel of Fortune I consider portal cards for obvious reasons. There's a circle on the card, right? And the World can represent kind of like stepping through a portal. And it kind of reminds me of this snake card, because it's like she doesn't have a snake, but this lady is like wrapped up with a snake. And this lady here, she is kind of like wrapped up with something like a ribbon or whatever you want to call it. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's like you literally could be creating a world that you desire to live in, which I would do. And with the Five of Swords, you have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, it's like I think you're taking another stab at something here. That could be the risk that you're taking as well. You could be trying to do something again that has disappointed you in the past. I feel like this could be like trying to get a job that you didn't get in the past, like trying to get it again. Things like that. And I do believe things like that would be very beneficial for you right now, Libra. It would be a good time for that, so I would go for it. With the Three of Wands, you have the Seven of Swords. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've said to you that you're probably going to get the Seven of Swords forever with me. Seven of Swords, he is stealing those swords from an army in the background here, and he is doing something in a different way. That type of energy is going to be very beneficial for you, Libra, especially you. And so, I really don't have any good examples. But anywhere in your life where you're trying to be successful, is there another way or a better way to do whatever you're trying to do? And again, I don't know. I can't answer that question for you, but it's definitely something I would think about with the Seven of Swords energy. The other thing with this card is playfulness, and you do have the Six of Cups here, which is also playfulness, which we'll talk about. He has these polka dots on his cloak, and polka dots in the tarot kind of represent taking things too seriously and needing to be more playful, needing to have more fun in life. And this has been a theme for you for like 2 years at least, maybe even since like 20, maybe even a little bit longer is what I'm trying to say here, where it's like you could be taking things too seriously and just asking you to be more playful and to lighten up a little bit here, and maybe through playfulness, which we'll talk about right now. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Reckless card. It says, uncontrolled spending habits and impulsive purchases are making your financial journey harder than it needs to be. I actually feel like you're getting that under control, honestly, just looking at this reading. To me, it looks, there are things here that would say you're ending bad habits. So if you do have bad spending habits or whatever, it might be, a good time to stop that. Now you have this dream home card. It says, when you're living your best life every day, your dream home is your actual home. Yeah, a lot of the readings are encouraging people to create their dream life here on Earth. So, I think this is kind of like a thing that the universe is asking everybody to do, is to like create that dream life or create a better life for themselves. And yeah, I mean, that's what I would do here with that card. You have the Six of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Seven of Cups. The Six of Cups is, can represent innocence and nostalgia. It can represent thinking about the past. But the Six of Cups is a card of childlike energy. It is a card of your inner child, and we have to be more playful with the Six of Cups. We have to do things that bring more joy and peace into our lives. That could be anything. Could be a hobby. Could be just something you're interested in. But more of that energy would be good. By the way, there is a little bit of love here in this reading. So if you want love, I do feel this is probably a new person, not a past person. And you have the King of Wands and the Lovers. And, this could be a very solid connection for you, Libra. So, I do feel like there could be a very happy connection here. You have the King of Wands. King of Wands about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want, like I said. So I do think it would be a good time to be bold, to be assertive, to really make things happen with this energy. I also think you could be attracting a person like that. On top of all that, Libra, I think some of you could even be attracting like a mentor, someone who motivates you. It's like, this is very different, though. I want to say this. It's like, sometimes I think, it's like we can have a mentor who motivates us, but it's almost like this is more of an example, right? So it's almost like you're discovering more of a person to look up to, right? Or it's like you're discovering an example. And I don't know, that randomly popped into my head. So if you're discovering a person to look up to, I feel this would be, I would. There's nothing to say, because all I want to say is like I would look up to that person or like use them as an example, right? I think that could be good. You have the Seven of Cups. Yeah, Seven of Cups can be being spoiled for choice. I actually feel good about this. I go back and forth on the Seven of Cups. Sometimes I feel it's good. Sometimes I feel it's bad. In this reading, I feel pretty good because you go up here to the Two of Wands. Two of Wands, he is making progress. It is a card of foresight. He's like seeing the future, but he is also making progress for sure. In the Seven of Cups, he's spoiled for choice. He has all these options, but he needs to like pick one of those options and bring it down to earth. So I feel for a lot of you that, there could be a lot of options, or you could be getting better options in life or feeling like you have better options in life, which is great. With the Six of Cups, you have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is holding on too tightly to the past. So it is kind of weird because I do get a little bit of devil energy from this reading, but not like bad, like as in, it's like maybe some of you are just have some habits, like with that, reckless card. And again, I'm not picking on you or anything like that. We all have things that we need to fix, right? And so I kind of feel that here. It's like there could be little things. And, sometimes I think when we have bad spending habits, maybe it's because, maybe we're doing it as a trauma response or something like that. And again, you're all different. So you're going to have to look, into yourself here and do some work. But I do think you could be overcoming this just based off of everything else. With the King of Wands, you have the Seven of Pentacles. I'm hearing finally ready. Like, if you want love, I feel that, number one, if you've been interested in a person, that someone could finally be ready. So it's like maybe you've been interested in a person who's taken, or maybe you've been interested in a person who's doing some healing. But I do feel that someone could finally be ready here. Libra definitely could be a fire sign. You've had fire with me forever. If it's not a fire sign, I would say it's like a person who has a lot of fire in their chart. But again, those are the words that I was getting off of this card. Seven of Pentacles can represent a change in direction. I feel there are a lot of changes. And, you have 777 right here. 777. So 777 might be an important number for you, Libra. It might even be a number that you see, like on like license plates or something like that. But I would be paying attention to those repeating numbers for sure. Oops, didn't want to grab those yet. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Five of Cups. Yeah, it's like you can have whatever you want, but just maybe not how you think is what this is saying. It's like, I think what you have to let go of is the old way of doing things. He's grieving the loss of something he no longer enjoys. But if he's grateful for what he has, he discovers like a new way of doing things. And he discovers this bridge and this castle. I really feel like this could be saying that there are probably like better ways or other ways that you could be successful in life, but you need to let go of the old ways. And Seven of Cups is, again, being spoiled for choice. I feel good about the Seven of Cups. I really do. I feel in a lot of ways, it could be saying that you're discovering better ways of, running your business or, finding success and wherever you're trying to find success. And I would pay attention to that. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card that says the evil eye. It says protect yourself against the evil eye so it doesn't negatively impact your life. You have this path to knowledge. It says you're journeying into the realm of knowledge to assist in your personal growth. It's like I am getting a weird message here, Libra, on these two cards that, like, what I feel like you're discovering is how to lift more weight. I don't mean that, like, in a bad way. I mean that in a very good way. It's like sometimes, I think people who are more successful in life, they can just handle more, in a lot of ways. I think that one of the benefits of, like, AI, for example, is that it could be helping people lift more weight, getting more accomplished and things like that, regardless of how you feel about it. It is what it is. And I'm not saying that you're like making, I don't think AI is good enough to do work for people yet. I think we see that. There's tons of AI garbage all over YouTube, right? But I think for like little things, for some tasks like research and things like that, it can lift a lot of weight, right? So as far as energy is concerned, I think that all of us need to, and AI is just one example. We should be looking for things or tactics, tools, techniques, everything that can make our life easier, and if we do that, it will become easier. You have the Nine of Swords, Two of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune. Nine of Swords can be like a never-ending nightmare. It can be, he's had a nightmare, woken up, and he's stuck in a nightmare. So I do feel a lot of you, this could be saying, like, I do feel like it's time to let something go. I almost feel like you know what this is, Libra, like something that has been weighing heavily on your mind for a long time, longer than just like this year. I think this is something that's been weighing heavily on your mind for a while. It could be some sort of issue or challenge that you've been facing or whatever. And so I think that there are things that you have to release that just weigh heavily on your mind. It could be issues or challenges that you're dealing with. And I'm not saying you should ignore these things, but it's like, is worrying helping is what I feel like the card itself is saying. You have the Two of Wands. Definitely time to leave something behind. He has this wand behind him. That wand behind him stands on its own. And now he's reaching out to this new wand, and he has the whole world in his hands. So, the card itself can say it's time to reach out to something new. It's time to, go try to do something new or do something different in your life, or to step into a different time or a different energy. And if you do that, you could become very successful with these 2 cards. And that's what I would be doing here, is like, putting yourself out there more, moving in new directions, taking risks. He has to leave the familiar. And I think that is going to be very important for you, Libra. It's like you have to be bold enough to leave what you have always known. I mean, I think this is true for everyone. I talk about it all the time. Like, literally, the best thing we can do right now is experience variety. I say this on the 7 of Cups when people get it. And so it's like we just have to go do new things. And I know it doesn't sound important, but it is. So, that's what I would do there. You have the Wheel of Fortune, definitely a change in a cycle. Some of you, it's kind of interesting because I feel it's one of those readings where it's like, I feel some of you are literally just going to wake up one day and be like, what am I doing? And I mean this in the best way possible. Sometimes it's like we just snap out of something, right? And it's almost like you're just snapping out of something here. That's like the intuitive feeling I get more than anything, Libra, that you're like snapping out of some sort of issue or challenge that you've been facing for a long time. It could be clicking, it's like it could click what you need to fix or change or do, this month. And I know this is a weekly reading, but I kind of feel this could be happening between now and like the middle of September, that you could be correcting this or fixing these things. So I don't know. It's popping into my head. With the 9 of Swords, you have the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups can be like about following your heart more than anything. And I feel that's what you probably should be doing, for sure, especially if you're doing a lot of worrying right now, Libra. I know it's hard not to worry. I'm a Pisces. I get it. It's easy to worry about everything. But, I think that, even if you could just take a little bit of time to not worry about everything and to, do more things that matter to your heart more, I think that would be helpful. With the 2 of Wands, you have the Empress. Yeah, very good card for Libra. The Empress is always Taurus, but I think she would be a good Libra card as well, of course. And so you could be very attractive at this time. You are Libra, so you're the most attractive sign. You're supposed to be, at least. The Empress can also be abundance, and again, all your abundance is going to be where you've never been before. So I would be doing new stuff. I would be going on new adventures and meeting new people and doing new things. That's literally what's going to make us all successful. And like I said, I know it sounds very simple, and it actually is. We just have to do it, but it's hard to change, right? And so I feel like this energy is saying like it's time to change, or it's time to do different things in your day to day, because that will be very beneficial. Yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, you have the King of Pentacles. I actually feel pretty good about this. This could be a positive change in your finances. The King of Pentacles, he's a little bit boring. He doesn't necessarily represent like billions of dollars coming in, but he definitely can represent making some positive financial changes that will lead to some benefits, right? Or that could lead to more money in the future. He is a card of like a foundation. I do consider him to be foundational. Like, he's about having a solid financial foundation. And the more we focus on that, the better with this card. So very good. And what do you know? You have this card that says it's time to take action, new moon in Aries. You have this new moon in Taurus that says prosperity lies ahead. So yes, basically the whole entire reading summed up right there. There's a lot of prosperity that could be coming in for you, but I think you have to take action on the new things, you have to take action in like new directions in general here, Libra. You have the Lovers, the 6 of Swords, and the 2 of Swords. I definitely feel there could be love. Now, is it a major focus at this moment for you, Libra? Maybe not. But I do think that there could be love. I feel like some of you are attracted to a person that you see. That's like popping into my head. It's like, I feel like I said this to you recently as well. It's like there could be a person who like comes into your work, or a person that maybe you walk every single day and you see a person on your walk, or maybe you always bump into a person at a store or the cafe or whatever, right? It's like I literally feel like you see this person, and if you don't yet, you're about to. But definitely could be love. Now, is like, again, it feels like slow right now, so is this going to come together this month? Maybe not. This feels like one of those things where it's like maybe next month, or maybe over the winter, and this is something that comes together. It feels a little bit more future to me. Just telling you what I feel. Again, the universe doesn't wear a watch, so it could happen today. You're all different, but again, it kind of feels a little bit more future for the most part. I feel like it's very good, though. I think there's a lot of attraction, a lot of desire. Looks really good. Next, you have the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords is about moving on to calmer shores, so I do think that there could be a lot of improvements, coming in for you. I think you're just based off of all the cards that are here. It does seem to me like, I would call this an improvement reading. Now, these aren't going to magically happen. These are improvements that are going to happen by doing the things I said, like doing things you've never done before. It's like clearly there are things that are finished for you with that 2 of Wands. You have to move on to new projects. You have to do new things. You have to learn new things to create these improvements. But if you do that, then things will improve. It's also a process. So again, it doesn't happen overnight. This is something that, these two people are going through. And they're moving on from choppy waters for the hopes of a brighter future. Again, I always say they don't know if the other side is going to be better or not. But it's coming up in the good stuff. And not only that, you have the 2 of Swords. She has choppy waters behind her, right? So she's thinking this or that, but really things can go a different way. This island that's behind her. The thing about the 2 of Swords is that, again, she needs to get to that island behind her because that could be a different way that things could go in her life. And, I definitely feel that for you with this card. It's like, if you are thinking that you need to move on from something or move forward from something, I would. With the Lovers, you have the 5 of Wands. It's really weird. A lot of people are like, it just seems like people could be attracting people where there is competition. I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is a good thing. You could be attracting a person that's like very attractive, or, you could be attracting a person where there is a lot of competition for that person. But, that could be mean that it is a good person. The 5 of Wands also just good for competition, like as in, showing up in the good stuff. It could say, like, now is your chance or now is your time, Libra, to stand out above the competition or to do things that will make you stand out above the competition. So, yeah, I would definitely, think about that. With the 6 of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles here. Definitely could be a new person, again, if you're looking for love. Page of Pentacles I sometimes consider to be a communicator. Normally we look at the Knights as messengers in the tarot, but sometimes I think the Page of Pentacles can also be a messenger coming in, someone who's delivering a message, someone who wants to communicate with you or whatever, be with you. Definitely could be a new person if you're looking for love. I definitely feel that on the Page of Pentacles. I also feel that the Page of Pentacles could be like, I don't know, I have something about writing popping into my head. If you're like a writer or something, Libra, I would go, I feel like you need to put it out more. So, I don't know, I would, start a Substack or something like that if you're a writer. Definitely popped into my head. I feel good news about money as well here. So, money looks pretty good. Yes, with the 2 of Swords, you have the Star. Yes, definitely, I think you need to focus on the Star. I think you get the Star more than anyone, which is weird because the Star is normally Aquarius, but I'm pretty sure you've been getting the Star with me quite a bit, Libra. The Star is about having a North Star, like having a guiding light, like that one thing that you focus on to accomplish. And, I think having a focus right now or having a goal would be a good idea. You have this Wreath card that says Sorrow Over Loss, 2 Wands. Sometimes with the 2 of Wands, he's got that wand behind him, but sometimes I think he can be afraid to let it go. It's like, I have a theory. I think that people think that, if it took you a long time to accomplish something in life, for example, like it took you 20 years, I think that if we're, that we can stay stuck in limiting situations like careers or businesses that took 20 years to build, and we don't move on to the next thing because we think it's going to take 20 freaking years. You need to learn that on that hill that you had to climb, you learned all the things you need to learn to make the next thing shorter. So it's like the next thing isn't going to take you as long as the first thing, and I don't know, it's popping into my head. You have this Chair Empty card that says someone is leaving your life. Yeah, a lot of you could be, I think this is true for everyone. It's like people are leaving Earth and, so that literally could be happening, although I think it's against tarot ethics to predict death in the first place, but, it's like that could be happening, or people could just be, transitioning to other things. You have the Sun card. It says happiness and well-being. Yes, I think there could be a lot of happiness coming in for you based off this reading. Star especially, if you focus on the Sun. Like, if you have a focus. You have this 4-leaf clover. It says great good fortune on it. Yeah, money looks very good here. And, I think it is a lucky time. But, again, 7 of Cups. That is the type of luck that we are having. And you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is a lucky change in your fortunes, which definitely could be happening for you. But, again, I don't like to make things better than they actually are, right? So, sorry to rain on this parade here, Libra, but it's like the type of luck that we're going to get is going to come from variety. It's like, if you want to get lucky in business, it's like maybe you come up with a plan. What I've been doing is like I come up with like 2 or 3 ways that something could work, right? That is what will create luck, because maybe you try one way to make something work and it doesn't work. So then you just try another way, and maybe that's the thing that's lucky. So it's kind of like I'm not a big plan B person. Like I think that, there's a famous person, I can't remember who it was, who has like who gave a speech who said, plan B distracts from plan A. But this is different. I think we should have a plan B and C, right? At least 3 ways of doing something, but it's not really distracting from plan A because it's all going towards one thing. You get what I'm saying? So that's the type of luck that we can have at this time. You have this younger man card. It says dealings with a younger man. You could have this clouds card. It says temporary problems. Yes, some of you, I do feel it could be dealing with children, but I think if you are, you'll overcome this very easily. So wouldn't even worry about it. But this looks pretty good, Libra. I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.